Zoraya. Where are you, Zoraya? Let's give her a round of applause, everyone.
Hey, y'all. One last round of applause for all the organizers. And a huge thank you to all the Black bodies and the allies that came before us and got us here. I should start by saying that I am unapologetically going to bring my lens as a Black woman to this issue. So I'm a council person, which means I'm a representative, and one or two of my residents have told me that I should keep my personal views out of this, and I assure you that for me, that is in no way possible. Imagine bringing with you the experience of trying to hold in tears as an officer who stops you on your college campus is yelling at onlooking citizens with his hand on his gun that they should keep moving because you're a lethal situation. You desperately try to find your student ID because you want to prove that you're an accepted Black body. Many of us are learning more about what it means to be Black in America. For me, in my 20s, I had to learn about white privilege. I had to learn that everyone receives the talk from their father at 11 years old, to learn how to react to a police officer, to hopefully walk away unscathed. I had to learn that not every straight A student had professor after professor look up your GPA when you aced the first exam in their class. I had to learn that I wasn't a coward for feeling paralyzed when my cross-country teammates ran onto private property and I was too afraid to follow, but too afraid to run alone. I had to learn that not everyone was held to an impossible standard of being perfect all of the time, everywhere, because you could lose too much with just one mistake. I had to learn that going high when others go low is an exhausting thing to do, day after day after day. I am grateful that the Burlington police are less racist than the other American police departments I've lived with. But that is a low bar, and it is not enough. I am grateful that there are people in our police department who just want to serve the community, but that is not enough. I'm also grateful that these officers are my first line of defense against some members of our community who really, really hate seeing a Black femme in office. But again, that's not enough. And so as a leader in these unprecedented times, I want to help the Burlington Police Department be different, because we need them to be different. I need them to be different. So yes, I want to reduce the number of uniformed police officers in Burlington by at least 30%. I know not every service our police department is currently provided needs to be done by a uniformed officer. I know Burlington has more municipal offers per resident than the average US city. I know the devastating outcomes police have in our schools and in schools across the country. I know that every single time new information comes in, you can and you should reevaluate if an officer should be redisciplined. And I believe in citizen oversight. I am personally so grateful for every single voice that called into the city council meetings this week. Because in some small way, every person that called in was reaffirming that my life mattered. Let me tell you, that's a weird thing to have to need to be reaffirmed. But thank you. And I'm so proud of how many callers were Ward 1 residents. It is no accident that we elected the first woman of color to the Burlington City Council. I am frustrated that some people seem to think that hundreds of voices calling into the council in one chorus is repetitive. It is not. If you don't think that people's power sounds like this, then what does it sound like? I am angry that those with power talk about reform and talk about change, but every single change that is proposed is credited as too much or too radical. Will you not stand for racial justice? And along those lines, I would like to invite Chief Jon Murad to come up and answer some questions. The police department and the officers in it need to be better.
Yes.
So maybe a slightly less easy question. What does that look like and how are you going to make it happen?
So that is a less easy question. I think that we have a very good police department. I think that we have a department that has officers in it who care about this community, who have joined for reasons that really matter. They treat this profession as an honorable one. And I recognize that that is not something that everyone in this audience believes or agrees with. That is something that we need to work on. Making certain that we can all see each other through each other's eyes in order to understand that these are men and women who have dedicated lives to this profession and this city, and that you all want them to be better. That is something where we can find common ground.
Does the Burlington Police Department commit to using no militarized equipment?
We do not have any military equipment that came through the programs you're talking about.
Do you commit to not using any militarized equipment?
I don't quite know what militarized equipment means.
Do you agree that the Burlington Police Department has been heavily and over-involved in social cases and in schools?
I don't agree about schools. I do agree that social problems have become the problem of the police for more than 30 years. For more than 30 years, those kinds of issues have been put on the plate of the police because the other services either didn't exist or were allowed to wither. And I fully believe that there are things to which officers now respond that they do not have to respond, except that they are the only ones who do. And even when there are slightly other resources available, the officers are the ones there first. They are there before various kinds of Howard Center workers get there, and those are terrific services, ones with which we work on a regular basis.
So let's fund them!
I would like to fund them. I would, but I would not want to turn off what we have now without having viable alternatives built. That is not safe.
I personally advocate for force reduction through attrition. Under this strategy is in the Burlington Police Department statement that we'd reduce diversity if reduce the force incorrect.
Under yours? No. But a 30% cut made unilaterally and immediately would, by contract, mean that less senior members go first. It is last in, first out, as it is for every contract of unions in the country, based on seniority, and that is who we would lose. If you are proposing something different, that is not immediate, that is not a matter of saying you've got 30% off right now, but instead we're going to explore attrition, we're going to explore other ways, and simultaneously build up demonstrably viable alternatives that keep people safe, I believe in that.
Give them your money!
Are you confident? Are you confident in your ability to implement the demands of the Racial Justice Alliance if mandated by the City Council?
Those, which demands are you speaking?
All of them.
Fire them!
I've just said that I don't agree with those.
I didn't ask if you agreed with them. I said, are you confident in your ability to implement the demands of the Racial Justice Alliance if mandated by the City Council?
If mandated, some of those demands cannot be met under contract law and human resources rules, and others cannot be met without compromising public safety.
You can just say no.
Do you agree to work with the mayor, the council, and the community to not just talk about change, but to implement it to the best of your ability?
We have done that throughout, and
thank you, Chief Murad. That is all of my questions. Again, I appreciate you coming to the march.
thank you, and I'm very, very glad to be here.
I guess I would just want to say, one, I do give credit to Chief Murad to being here, but again, that's the minimum. Showing up is the minimum. I don't think that you can ask the police department what changes are feasible. I think we have to ask ourselves. I don't think that we will have alternative programs until we do defund the police, because where is that funding supposed to come from? I don't think that change will come from within, but luckily we have a whole community backing change. Thank you all so much for showing up.